Let's kick off with expectations in terms of what the BOJ is going to do. And I'm looking here at the Bloomberg survey conducted between July 15 and 22. 32 of 41 analysts expect Kuroda and the BOJ board to expand their record program at the two-day meeting. Glenn, is this the right time to do that?
Look, it's very interesting at this stage because inflation expectations are clearly falling. The Bank of Japan will revise their inflation forecast lower. But in mid-July, we had a fairly convincing win for Abe in the upper house elections. And that does raise the possibility that you could see a stronger and more forceful policy response if perhaps the BOJ waited and we saw a coordinated fiscal and monetary policy response. But I think given Kuroda's historical proactiveness and the fact that inflation expectations and the inflation forecast is likely to be revised lower, then it's a real possibility, and the forecast numbers, the consensus expectations show that the Bank of Japan will ease at their meeting on the 29th.
Glenn, we keep hearing about helicopter money. So far, it's been vociferous denials from the side of the BOJ governor. What do you make of the concept from a theoretical perspective?
Oh, look, from a theoretical perspective, I think it's extremely sound and it's extremely strong. And we have to remember that Japan is both at its limits of conventional, unconventional monetary and fiscal policy. Now, typically when a government spends more, it issues bonds, it finances that. Quantitative easing is when a central bank will typically buy those bonds. Monetary financed deficit spending is when the central bank directly finances government spending. And given government debt is at 250% of GDP, I think that as a concept, and Ben Bernanke was in Japan last week, and he has long been a proponent of monetary deficit finance spending, I think it clearly is an option that is on the table. The question is it too soon, since Abe's convincing upper house victory, for a robust, coordinated and likely to be successful coordinated and fiscal monetary policy action to be drafted? And I think that's the risk. It is perhaps too soon.
Glenn McGuire, Angie Lau here in Hong Kong. You know, you say it's too soon at the BOJ, and the question, I guess, for the central bank in the U.S., the Fed, is, well, is it too late? I mean, at some point, they've got to raise rates. There's this growing sentiment that it's probably, maybe, at least September instead of December because of the November elections. What are your thoughts there?
Look, I mean, it's interesting, and it highlights a number of political overlays which you've been discussing earlier. Immediately after Brexit, the market was pricing no Fed action until 2018. Now we have a probability, 50% probability, that the Fed will do something by December 2016. I think given the election timing, you know, September is perhaps a little bit uncertain, and I think the Fed will be needing to see fairly strong unilateral directional positive outcomes in both wages and inflation for a September move. But I think, you know, closer to December is more likely to be the outcome, particularly given this uncertain, lingering backdrop of the global recovery continuing to be around the 3% level of growth and not really gaining any traction.